Hello, hello.
Good evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Satsang, where myself, John Homewood,
I'm Michelle McLennan.
we share a little bit of insight and guidance as far as spiritual awakening goes. Tonight the topic is sharing some light on death.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing
Right.
some light on
Shining
death.
some light.
Shining some light.
Same thing.
And in our experience, we've had quite a few people who have had a loved one, person or pet pass away recently. We know a lot of people who have decided to leave the planet at this time. It does seem a time of transformation and transition. So tonight we thought we'd look a bit at the subject of death and dying. So not a pleasant subject, not a subject that most people like to dwell on or even focus on. But it's in fact inevitable that all of us will make that transition, and everyone we love around us will also make that transition. So it's a very good idea to spend a little bit of time focusing on what that is and what it means for us in this human incarnation.
Because most people don't talk about it.
No.
It's a taboo subject.
Well, in the West, in the
West.
East, it's integrated into life, but in the West, we sort of relegate death to a dark cupboard somewhere, and we don't talk about it. Yeah, that's right. So we thought we'd do that tonight. We thought we'd shine a little bit of light on the subject of death and illuminate death. And so do we have an astrological update tonight? Have we gone through a full moon?
Just gone through a full moon.
Full moon, and I'm sure a lot of you felt that. A lot of people have, that we know, have been experiencing a lot of emotions this last week. So we'll look a bit at that. So welcome, thank you for joining us tonight, and we like to know who we're talking to. So hello, Deborah, and was that Margie? Hello, Margie. Yes, we love to get to know who we're talking to. So please just drop us a line in the comments box. And hello, Paula from Portugal. I think you're in Portugal, aren't you? Yes. And we love getting the hearts as well. And if you find what we have to share tonight of value, please won't you press the like and the share button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe there. And if you're watching on Facebook, please subscribe to our Facebook page as well. So thank you. Let's just wait for a few more people to join. Thank you for the hearts. We love getting it. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Terry,
Hi,
and
hi,
Shelley,
Shelley.
and Aragon.
Yes. Hello, Claire.
And Claire.
Yes.
Good to have you with us. It's a nice way to end the week.
Yeah, the weekend.
Get
Yeah.
ready for the new week.
Yeah, these satsangs are not only about what we have to share with you, it's also about you sharing your energy with us, but more importantly with the world. Because when we do gather in this way with an intention to be still, to be sacred for a while, that intention ripples out into the world. First of all, when we become still, we do channel an energy through us. You can call it life if you want, and that energy actually comes through us and out into the world. And so we are actually being part of the solution to the world and the darkness in the world, and we are part of the solution to healing on this planet, personally, individually, but also collectively. So thank you for joining us in these satsangs. Thank you. Hello, Sonia. Hello. So let's start this evening. Shall we start?
Mm-hmm.
We always start by going into a bit of stillness, by inviting a bit of stillness with us. Hello, Gillian. Yes, so let's just settle into our chairs or bed or floor, whatever we're sitting or lying on, and just become very quiet and very still. And one of the ways we do that is by closing our eyes. We don't have to close our eyes, we can keep our eyes open, but we just find it beneficial to just cut out the outside stimuli for a little while and just become centered in your inner presence, in your inner peace, in your inner space. So gently closing your eyes and just become aware of the eyelids and the heaviness in the eyelids. Become aware of everything you can hear in this moment and everything you can touch and feel in this moment. So you can touch the external world with your with your body, maybe sitting on the couch or the chair or the bed. You can become aware of where your feet are touching, your hands are touching. You can become aware of where the air in the room is touching your cheeks. You become aware of that temperature. Touch is such a powerful portal into presence. If you're truly aware of your body and how it connects with the earth, the world around you, there is a centering. For it is only through awareness that we become present, awareness of the isness of this moment. So that's a powerful portal. Another portal which we usually explore a little bit is the portal of listening. To listen, we have to become quiet on the inside. The thoughts have to subside to a certain degree for us to truly listen. And the problem with most communication is there's too much noise going inside the person's head for there to be true communication. For true communication to take place, there has to be stillness within the listener. So let's just practice that for a moment. So first of all, what we do is we project our awareness onto the sounds that we're hearing right now. You can hear my voice, but there are possibly a lot of other sounds going on in your environment, even maybe very faint sounds, very far away sounds, but just become aware of them. So extend your awareness to the soft sounds coming into your eardrums right now. The faintest sounds are obviously the ones that you have to become very still to hear. And then just bring your awareness to that which is listening, that which is aware of the sounds. And if you are truly honest, you find that it isn't your name, it's not your gender or your age, or your race or your religion that's listening. It's something deeper. You can change your name, but you will still be here listening. Your age will change, but the awareness within you is timeless and ageless. So just take a moment to step back into this awareness. Behind your eyes, behind your ears, behind your name, behind your story, there's this awareness, this ever-present consciousness that's aware. This stillness that's aware is also aware of your body, the sensations in the body. It's aware of any pictures behind your eyelids. It's aware of the breath. And let's just keep our awareness on the breath for a few moments and take a very deep breath in, drawing the air right the way down into the torso. And then just surrender that breath back to life. Just surrender. And the very act of breathing out is an act of surrender. It's letting go. It's also an act of trust. If you didn't trust life to give you the next breath, you probably would cling on to the previous breath. But we don't. We release it, we let go, trusting that life will give us another breath. And now let's take a very deep breath in, filling your lungs to their full capacity, and then releasing it, just letting it go, sighing it all out. Maybe dropping your shoulders, relaxing your neck muscles, releasing any worry lines on your forehead, any lines around the eyes, any tightness around the mouth. Just relax. Let go, release. Just see that your tongue is relaxed, maybe resting between your bottom teeth, your top teeth, resting, maybe slightly touching the palate. Relax your jaw, release any tension in your arms, in your legs. And just sink down deeper into whatever is supporting your body right now, be it the bed, the floor, or the chair. Just surrender your body to that which is supporting your body right now. And you might like to say thank you to that which is supporting the body. Thank you to the cushions. Thank you to the carpet or the bed. Just thank you. Take another very deep breath, and this time just imagine the air being drawn right the way down into your solar plexus, right the way down to your feet, and then release it all. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Let's just take a moment to extend our awareness to anyone who we know of is maybe in a state of turmoil at the moment. Maybe they have experienced the passing of a loved one. And just surround them in a bubble of beautiful, comforting, pink-white light. Just hold them in the space of your heart. Although we live in a universe of separation, when we enter the field of love, there is no separation. And just by holding someone in peace within you, that provides comfort to them also. And let's put a bubble of blue-white light around the world at this time, as the world is going through massive transformation. A new earth is being birthed, and birthing processes are not always easy. And so we bring compassion to all of those on earth going through times of transformation, transition, change. We hold them in this presence, in this light of peace within us. And we say thank you to the consciousness which led us to be here in this satsang tonight. We say thank you. Thank you for the consciousness which enables you to honor quietness, stillness, connection, and above all, love. We say thank you to our guides, our guardian angels, maybe our ancestors who are the unseen ones, who are there with us, who guide us. And we invite them in, all those that come in light. We invite them into the satsang as well. I'll take another very deep breath in. Long breath out, and on the out breath you may gently open your eyes and just see how you feel in this moment. You feel a bit more connected, a bit more calm. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for joining the satsang. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Welcome. Thanks John. It was lovely. It was very peaceful.
Yeah.
Definitely feeling more peaceful now.
Good. Good.
Beautiful. Gentle.
So what's happening in the stars that's bringing some turmoil to this planet and to people in their emotional lives, perhaps in a huge way?
Yeah, I mean the full moon and the new moon ones that I do, that a lot of astrologers do, are just points in the month, and they're quite profound in terms of it's a culmination. A full moon is a culmination, and a new moon is a beginning. But in between that and all the time, there are movements. And one of the big movements, or alignments, if you like, that we're experiencing is a Pluto alignment. And Pluto is the planet that relates to death, birth and regeneration. So it's the planet of transformation. And it's basically aspecting two of the very important positions, which is the moon's nodes, So it's very, it's kind of connected with the past. It's connected with our destiny as a collective, not just personally. If it's working with you personally, then you'll know about it because you'll be feeling it for sure. But everybody is feeling it. So in particular, America, which is actually going through what we call its Pluto return, which happens once every 250 years or so, 248 years. So there's a lot on our planet in human form that is dying. And it's the old way of being that is dying. And we have not experienced this as we're experiencing as humanity yet. This is the first for us, as our generation. So if you look at just Pluto, Pluto has a cycle or an orbit of 248 years, and obviously none of us have been alive in this incarnation for 248 years. So we have no idea what this is, but we do know that it's a shift in power. It's a shift in how we view the world. And the old way of doing things, you might have noticed, doesn't generally work as well now. So if you have, for example, been quite controlling and you've been very organized and you've had a plan, and then that leads to that, leads to that, leads to that, you might be finding that that isn't working like that at the moment. It's more about trusting that something's unfolding than actually having your finger on the go button and knowing exactly what that sort of procedure is going to be. For many people, they're experiencing that, which is that kind of feeling of not quite sure where they are, not quite sure what the next step is, sort of feeling a little bit in limbo, feeling like they don't know where they're going to be next, either emotionally or physically or relationship-wise, financially. So death is a big subject, but it's basically transformation, the way I see it. And so something is transforming from this to that, and we are in that process. And it's been happening for a long time. It's not new. So it's sort of feeling a bit like, when is this going to end now? It's a little bit like a tunnel, like a birth canal, that, you know, the baby's going to come when the baby needs to come, and when the cycle is finished, and it's not finished. So astrologically, Pluto keeps on revisiting the final degrees of the sign that it's in, and it's going in and out, in and out. So it feels kind of that it's almost done and then it's not. And so where's the new, but it's not quite here yet. So that's really what I see. I don't know if you feel that, but that's what a lot of people that I'm speaking to are saying. And they're trying to sort of say, well, what's going to happen and where's it going? And we don't know. So it's sort of like the eye through the needle. It's honing our energy and allowing what the new to unfold, as opposed to forcing it and trying to plan it. Yeah. So that's just astrologically what's going on, but it's very activated right now because of the new moon. The full moon activated it directly. So if you have been feeling kind of a bit overwhelmed, or a bit triggered, or a bit conflicted, or your relationships have been a little bit wobbly, this is the energy that it doesn't cause it, but we align with the energy because we are not separate from anything else. That's how astrology works. That's how all of these metaphysical arts, if you want to call them, work. They work on the principle that we are not separate, we are all one. So we all feel the energy. So pets, animals, plants, planets, there's no difference. So when something big is happening out there, it's happening in here as well.
Yeah, that's very true. And a lot of people are feeling this emotional turmoil at the moment in so many ways. And you know, if we look at this birthing process that we're going to, from, you know, the Mayans and the Hopi Indians talk about the fifth world being born, the fifth sun being born. Well, yeah, in anything being born, something has to be let go of. And what has to be let go of, for example, if a baby's being born, it's got to let go of the womb. It's got to let go of that old, secure way of being inside a confined space. No matter how nice that womb, it's come to the end. It's outgrowing that womb, and it has to actually die to the old so that it can be born anew. Or let's take the one that we use quite a lot is the caterpillar crawling into the chrysalis. And prior to crawling into the chrysalis, or prior to creating the chrysalis, it becomes dysfunctional. It becomes sluggish. It becomes fat, and it's not fully functional in the world anymore. And the old has to die inside that chrysalis, and it loses its feelers and its feet, and it's got lots of those, so it loses a lot of legs, and its world literally falls apart. And in that surrendering and in the letting go process, something new comes in, a new energy. In fact, we even know that the actual genetics of that caterpillar change and transform. And what emerges is not an improved caterpillar, which is quite often what we are hoping for, a new world where, the money will be abundant, and we can just go and get whatever we want, and everyone is, super kind to each other, etc., etc. And what we're doing is we are looking at the old world and trying to create a new world that's a better version of the old world. And as the caterpillar knows, the new world that emerges as it becomes a butterfly is just so vastly different. Nothing is comprehensible for the caterpillar in the world of the butterfly. The butterfly doesn't crawl, it doesn't eat leaves anymore. It doesn't do the things, it's not limited in the world that the caterpillar was. So the butterfly is able to do, things. For example, the butterfly is able to fly, we know that, but it's also able to make love and to reproduce, which the caterpillar couldn't do. It didn't have any concept of that. So this transformation that's taking place within us is not an improvement of the old. It's actually a letting go of the old. It's a surrendering the old, letting go of that womb, going down that dark birth canal and into the light which we've never experienced before. And maybe it's a cold environment initially, maybe it's a scary environment for the first few moments, but it's actually an environment that's better suited to the growth that's taking place in you, to the newness that's being born within you. And that's what we're going through. But we have to die, we have to be prepared to die to that which no longer serves us. And it may be a relationship, it may be a career, it may be even a state of health that you used to know, maybe a relocation, for example. These are all things that we need to let go of so that we are then in a better position to embrace the newness that's being born.
Yeah, I think you said a few things there. The one big thing is a surrender, because as that caterpillar is letting go of its legs and segments and feelers and everything else, it can't fight it. It's actually the same, the similar process as the dragonfly, which actually exists under the water, and it has to climb up a plant, and it sheds its shell, and then the dragonfly can fly. So it actually changes element, which is it goes from being a water creature to an air creature, which is fascinating. And that's kind of what's happening. So death is physical. When we refer to death, we usually refer to it as physical death. Someone died. But what we don't realize is that something's dying all the time, that every day we experience a death. So the day dies, and the evening dies when the morning comes. There's cycles. Our whole environment, our whole reality is cyclical. It's not. It just doesn't have an end point, and death is not an end point either. But within that death, we have other deaths. As John said, we have the death of a relationship, a death of a career, a death even of a way of being in the world. So if you were once a very powerful, controlled, successful person, you might find that that's shifting, and that suddenly that isn't something you can rely on anymore, because it was an ego construct. It wasn't who you were. It wasn't the real you. So what I'm experiencing, and what a lot of people that I know are experiencing, is a stripping away of those ego constructs, of what we think, or what we've thought that we are, to reveal what we really are. But in that process, it feels a bit like a death, because you sometimes can't recognize this new life. and you don't know what it's going to be. So in that process, we're actually experiencing little deaths, or bigger deaths, all the time. So you aren't the same person as you were when you clicked the button on Facebook. None of us are. It's changing all the time. We're sloughing off dead cells all the time. So it's such a huge concept, isn't it?
And the most important part of this is the surrender process.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine a baby coming down the birth canal in an unsurrendered state, trying to hold on to the inside of the womb, you know, and just saying, no, I'm not going out there. I'm just resisting this process of transformation. That would be a pretty painful birth, and
It happens.
possibly an unsuccessful birth at that. And so let's look at death at the moment. Death, physical human death. The successful passing is one who passes totally surrendered. And those around them are surrendering to that transformation within that person who's passing. So it's a field of surrender in that moment. You're not resisting the death. You're not trying to hold on to that person who's dying. Or if you are the person that's dying, you're not trying to hold on to the old. You die surrendered. You slip out and you allow the flow, the change of life to happen in a surrendered way. So surrendering to the processes of life and all the transformation and the change that we're going through at the moment is absolutely vital. If it is ease that you want, if it is peace that you want, if it is higher levels of awareness and consciousness that you want, then surrender is the path. Surrender, the letting go, the releasing. And people often say, but I don't want death. Why do we have to have death? Well, just to remember that, well, there's a misperception, first of all, and one of the biggest misperception is that death is the opposite of life. And we've spoken before about that. Death is not the opposite of life. Death is the opposite of birth. As Wayne Dyer said, that this human experience is a sexually transmitted terminal disease. That's what it is. We're dying from the moment we're born because it's form. So that's the important part to recognize, that all form, everything that's in form, is born, has an experience of transformation, and it dies. All form. There's no form that is that's excluded from that process. Even the sun will die because the sun was born. So everything in the world of the tangible objective universe has a beginning, and as a result of that will die, everything. However, the Course in Miracles, right on the very first page, has the most profound statement. It says that nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists, and therein lies the peace of God. Now, yeah, we can say, but everything in this world can be threatened. Well, everything in this world is transitory. It's not eternally real. It appears real for a short time, but it's actually not eternally real. It's not absolute real, because it passes away. But it's the recognition of the difference between that which is changing and that which doesn't change, which allows us to experience peace. And that's the important part of what death does. Death is an opening, a portal in our awareness, which allows us to see through the veil of form to the formless. And yes, when we're living our sort of normal lives, we only see form. That's all we see. That's all we relate to. You meet someone, you meet their form. But this process of transformation, it's absolutely vital for us now to start seeing through the form to the formless, to that surrendered essence of being that lies deeper than the transitory form. For example, if you have a pet and the pet passes away in front of you, it dies, it ceases to be alive. In that moment, the body of the pet, let's say it's a dog, the body of the dog is still there. It still has the hair, it still has the same features that it had 5 minutes ago. But something has changed. Well, it may still be warm, you can still feel the warmth, but that's not it. Something has left. But the form is still there, but something has left. The invisible essence of life has left. The form of life is still there. The cells are all still there. But that invisible essence of being is no longer animating that form. And I would suggest, they say die before you die, and it's to die to the misperception of the permanence of all form. So in every moment is to see through the form to the formless in everyone you meet, to start to relate to the beingness that's deeper than form, because the beingness is that part in that quote I said that is never threatened. The beingness is always here. Life is always here. Changes form. The form that life takes changes. The form of the being changes. But the energy, the true essence of life, is always here, cannot be threatened. Life doesn't go anywhere. Life is not born, and therefore life doesn't die. Being isn't born, and therefore being doesn't die. The I am presence, which you are, is not born, and therefore does not die. Nor does it die in anyone. The form comes, and the form goes. So the real, I believe the gift in this process of experiencing a lot of death in our outer experience is that there are many portals now for us to see through the doorway of form to that formless, and to enter that surrendered state where we allow the flow of life, we allow the ever-changing form that life takes to dissipate. But we're able to see and able to acknowledge the invisible that animates the body, and to honor that. It's called life, to honor that within everyone, because that's what we love. What we love in the other is not necessarily a form. Yes, we can become enamored with a form, we can enjoy the form, have fun with the form, it's great, but there's always something deeper than the form that we love, and that's the formless. And this process of awakening is to do just that, to see through the veil of death and find that it isn't real, because that which we loved is always here. It always is. It always will be.
Yep. And just human nature, sort of the way we programmed, is to hang on to that form. It's. I don't want to let go of that form, because I love that form like it is. This dog, this cat, this bird, this beautiful person. I love this form, so I don't want to let go of this form. And that's the resistance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting also, the form doesn't necessarily have to be physical, although, that's the most obvious form that we have. We also have the form of the psyche, or the form of the ego, or the form of the personality. And even that is all born, and every form, every psyche, every ego will die. And is in the process of dying from the moment it's born, in fact. And it's to see through the psyche, to see through the personality, to see through that veil, that mask, to the formless behind the form, and to do it in yourself. The one exercise which we always recommend is looking in the mirror and looking deep into your eyes and saying your name and saying I love you. But in that process, it's not, yes, we can love the form, but in that moment it's to look through the form, to see that God essence, that life essence that's animating the form, to acknowledge your true being, because when you can see your true being, and when you can honor your true being, and when you can value your true being, that's when you can start to do that in the other, in the world around you. That's what true love is. True love is to recognize yourself in the other, to recognize not your physical self, not your psychological self, but the real essence of life that you are, you see in the other, and you see there's no distance, no separation, there's no judgment in there, and that's love. Love is the seeing, the feeling of oneness. That's what love is all about. That's true love. It's an eternal experience, always available to us, if we're prepared to look past that which is dying, which is always the form. That which is, as Eckhart says, is all forms are unstable. All forms are unstable. They are. They're always in a process. But to look through that and to find that which is completely stable, which is completely present, to see with real eyes, to realize that that which is real cannot be threatened. And that's the way of seeing through death. So yes, we acknowledge that the form goes, but the formless is never threatened. It's rather like, and here's another analogy, is the ocean. And the ocean is always there. However, the waves come and go. The waves come and go. And a wave crashes onto the rocks and dissipates. And you can, get very upset about that. And you can write a death certificate for that wave that's now died. But that's missing the point that the ocean is there. The ocean was waving. And life is creating the forms that it has. And the forms come and the forms go, because the wave is born and the wave dies. The form is born and the form dies. But the ocean of life is always here. And it's love is the recognition of the ocean. It's to see the wave, to appreciate the wave, to enjoy the wave, to surf the wave. But it's to know that that wave is just an outer expression of a deeper ocean. And true love, true unconditional love, is to love the ocean rather than just the surface, just the wave.
And I think it's to honor, as you say, to appreciate the wave, to honor the wave, to honor that relationship that you have with that special being, and to not isolate an animal from a human. It's a being, and you have a relationship with that being. So to honor that relationship, but to realize that the form of it isn't going to last forever. So to bring ourselves to a point where we can actually really see that this is really the only moment you have with that particular form, and that tomorrow that can change. In 10 minutes it can change. So it also brings you back to now, doesn't it? I think a lot of people, when they get a death sentence, when they get a dread disease and they get told that they've only got 2 months to live, they often report that they have never lived so much in those 2 months.
They become more alive.
They become completely alive, because they know that this time that they're spending with this loved one could be the very last time. So they are 100% present. And so many people make peace with that, with themselves, and find that which they've been looking for the rest up until then in their lives, because there's that sense of knowing that this is it. And this is just something that often comes to me: this is it. There isn't anything else.
Yeah.
What if this is it? And it is. We don't know. We honestly don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So what is life? Life is this. Most important thing we can be doing is this.
Correct.
At the moment, the most important thing John and I can be doing is talking to you, because that's what we're doing. Yeah. Most important thing you can be doing is listening to us and doing whatever you're doing, because that's what you're doing. And so that helps us to embrace the process of coming and going, the waves coming through and leaving, coming through and leaving. It's a cycle. So we can still honor the form, we can honor the person, but we don't have to resist their departure.
Or their change.
Yeah,
or career.
Because very often, in a relationship starts one way, and it changes, and it morphs, and it transforms. And if you are stuck on the initial form of the relationship, you're going to be in resistance to any change. Like one of the things people say when they get married, don't ever change. God help us. What happens if you never change? That's a sad life.
Boring.
But we do that. We say, please don't ever change. Stay the way you are. What are we trying to
impose on the person? It's an impossibility. Change is constant.
And then the person starts to change, and he says, no, but I don't love you like I used to love you because you've changed. Well, yeah, that's what we're here to do. We're here to change and evolve and grow and learn and experiment and fall and rise and mess up and succeed. That's what we're here for. So can we accept that we are going to change, that we are changing? That this is a big adventure.
Yeah, it is. And I'd also like to talk a little bit about what happens when you die. What happens when a loved one dies? What happens when a pet dies? And just to know that it's rather like going from one room into another room. That's really what it's like. You're leaving the old room and going into the new room. And it's not the fact that you are leaving one room and going to another room that's important. It's how you do it. Do you go with carrying anger or resentment or grief or guilt in your heart? Or do you go with the joy in the acceptance and the surrenderedness, walking into that new room? Not looking back, but always looking forward. Looking to what is presenting itself in your field of awareness right now. And there are some souls that pass through gripping the old life, resisting the birthing process, looking back at the womb, and they become maybe earthbound bound souls. And I believe that to die successfully is to die completely surrendered to the isness of just this moment, here and now. To die completely surrendered. And the awakening process is the letting go of attachment. That's really what it is. The attachment to a self, a limited self, to a self that's defined by achievements, for example, or acquisitions, or relationships, for example. The awakening process to let go of that, and that is the death process. A successful death process is to die to the old completely, to die completely surrendered. And I would just suggest that most of the people with us on the Satsang tonight are very much alive right now in the human form. But do not wait until the body goes before you surrender. Die before you die. The Tibetan Book of the Dead urges us to die before we die. What does that mean? It means to surrender now, surrender attachment to form. People quite often say, but I don't want to come back. I don't want to reincarnate. This has to be my last life. I'm definitely not coming back here.
You're coming back?
And there's a preference. There's a non-surrender in that statement. There and then you are actually bringing yourself back. You are attached to this planet, so you zoot out of your body, but because you still have attachments back here, negative attachments are just as strong as positive attachments. I don't want that. Well, you're attracted to that, and you will be attracted back into another form, to another experience. And people say they don't want to be born again, but they're still attached to the world of experience, the world of form, the world of substance, the world of relationships. And therefore, you are still in the cycle of some samsara. You're still in that cycle of karma. Until you're completely surrendered, you will be drawn back into the cycle. So it's to die, it's to release the body with complete joy, appreciation for what was, but no need to look back, no need to hold on to anything. And I know it is natural for most people. For example, we know through countless NDEs, near-death experiences, that when people die, they see their loved ones and they go back into that field of experience again, experiencing their loved one as someone over there, as somethingness, and they're over here. And that's that cycle of repeating patterns which goes on, lifetime after lifetime. And in truth, if you were to pass that veil, completely surrendered, there would be no need to see a loved one that had passed away. There would be no attachment to seeing a pet on the other side, for example. It's gone. You've let go of all of that. And then the Tibetan Book of the Dead says you go into the white light, the pure light, the light of total annihilation. It annihilates all form. You go into the formless. And that's the next level of experience above this human cycle of birth and death and reincarnation. And so our job right now, as the earth is going through this transformation process, is moment to moment to moment, to die before you die, to surrender your attachment. It doesn't mean you have to go and give everything away. It doesn't mean you have to give your kids and your wife away or anything like that. Or your parents. You enjoy the process of relationship, the relationship to your car, the relationship to your house, the relationship to your garden, the relationship to your relatives, for example. You enjoy the relationship, but you no longer define yourself by it. And you drop the words me, mine, and my. It's the words, those three words are signs of attachment. Wherever there's a me, mine or my, there is an attachment, and therefore you are cycling back into form time and time again. But to release all that, to release all of those attachments and to die completely surrendered, is to leave this planet totally successful. Now I know a lot of people today in the world, the modern world that we live in, dementia seems to be a big thing, huge thing. And I believe dementia is a gift, because what it does, it gives the departing soul time to let go of the mind, to let go of the story, to let go of the old identity. It's a wonderful gift, that dementia, which helps the soul release that false identity. To I am what I do, I am what I have, and I am what other people think of us. And I know for people witnessing dementia in someone they love, it's extremely hard. It really is hard, because you're watching that person that you know die before they die. But that's success. To die before you die is successful. It's to die surrendered. Now, there are some people who say, but I can't remember who I am, and I should remember who I am. And there's that anger and that resentment, or even that fear and that depression, because life is not presenting itself the way that you think it should present itself. But in that moment, there's a wonderful gift. There's a wonderful gift for you as the observer of someone with dementia, to love them exactly as they are, not how they used to be, not because they acknowledge you for what you've just done, which they can't remember 5 minutes later, but just to enjoy the uniqueness of just this moment with those people. So there's a gift for them, because it's helping them let go of the human experience and the human attachments of this lifetime. But it's also a gift to you, being the carer maybe, to let go of you needing them to acknowledge a story, a history, or even a future. To let go and just enjoy the uniqueness of this moment. To make presence more important than any story. That's the gift of that particular type of passing. And it's not easy, and I know it's not easy to give up the story. But it's actually very necessary if it is that we wish to end the samskara, and the samsara, the cycle of life and death and karma and rebirth, for example.
And
Don't have
suffering.
to. There's no, and the
It's
suffering
to
that
end
it
the
brings.
suffering, because the
Buddha
resistance
says,
that we have is what creates the suffering. This
Yeah.
being shouldn't be dying.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be happening. It's too early. It shouldn't have happened like this. That's the suffering.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the fact that the person's dying or the being's dying,
Yeah.
the animal.
Yeah.
It's because we think that it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. It's resistance.
And we don't want to lose that form.
Yeah, because
So where there is surrender, there is no resistance.
Yeah.
And where there is no resistance, there's peace.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe that you actually you can aid the passing as well. I think that if we're too attached to the departing form, we can actually almost hold it back because we don't want it to go. So I think that there is that as well. So if somebody's ready to go, it's kinder to actually just let that soul go.
to tell them it's all right,
And
you
it's
can
okay.
go now.
I know.
It's
I
okay.
did that with my mum.
Yeah, I did as well.
You did too, yeah. So, and in her last week that she was alive, on that last day, I kept on saying, "Mum, it's fine.
You can
You
go
can
now.
go now.
You can
It's
go
fine.
now. It's okay.
It's okay for you to go."
Yeah.
And she eventually did that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So there's a great release in that.
Yeah,
Being
there
able
is.
to actually say it's time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
And that's quite often.
They sometimes need that too.
Yeah, and quite often they wait for their loved ones to leave the room.
Yeah. They did.
And then the loved ones say, "Oh, I should have stayed. I should have
She
whatever."
did that.
No, they needed you to go so they could leave, because your being there was holding them in the body. It's not easy, by the way, to leave the body. It actually does take a lot of energy. And if you are psychologically trying to hold on to someone, it makes it actually very difficult for them to transition. So they wait for you to leave the room, go to the bathroom or go home, and then they slip out of the body. Yeah.
My mom did that too,
Yeah.
just before I got there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't think she could have. Maybe
Yeah.
she couldn't have done it while I was there. I'd been there all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's to celebrate life, always celebrate life, and you can celebrate and honor the form, but never mistake the form for the formless, for the life that's eternal. And it's the eternal life that we love in every form. Not the form. The form will come and the form will go. Yeah, we can be enamored with form for a short time. We can fall in love with the form for a short time, but that doesn't last. But the love that we're talking about, of the that sense of oneness with the other, is the recognition of the being, and that's eternal. That love is eternal. not the form, but the formless. So thank you for being with us tonight, and just a little plug. We have an inner space online community, and the theme for October is mirrors, and we're looking particularly at relationships. That's the energy that's coming through at the moment. So if you go on to journeysofAwakening.com and you scroll down, you can see Inner Space, and you can join for a month. Join for the month of October. It's a very beautiful month. We have some lovely work prepared for you, lovely meditation, etc., etc., lovely creative exercise as well. And you join part of a community. And at this time of transformation, I believe we need community. We need support. And that's what the Inner Space group, and that's on JourneysOfAwakening.com.
Yeah, join us for the month.
Yeah. So you pulled out the affirmation card. Shall I choose one tonight?
There you go.
Okay. Let's just choose one. I won't even look at the color. Oh, a green one. I got a green one. What does it say? Oh, okay. Well, that's a very good tool. I've got a green one, and on it are written words that are a very powerful tool to releasing, to surrendering, to letting go. That's what that's all about. Okay.
So I'll lead you through that in
Super.
the meditation.
Thank you.
Alright, so just settling in, if you're not settling in already. Making yourself comfy, even more comfy than you were. Taking a big, long, deep, slow breath in. And then blowing that breath out through your mouth as if you're blowing through a straw. Let the breath all out. Just let it all go. And breathing in all the way in. Hold that breath for a second at the top and then release it, and feel the release as you release. Start to really feel on each exhale the release that you can feel. As you inhale, you're actually filling yourself up. As you exhale, you're releasing, you're softening, you're letting go. You're emptying. So all the time we're breathing in and we're breathing out. We're breathing in life and we're letting go of life. It's a full cycle, ongoing, every moment of our lives. Breathing in and breathing out. With each out breath, relax your shoulders more, soften your hands more, and just drift into a place of peace and presence. Listening only to the sound of your own breath. Feeling into the softening of your heart, of your body, on each out breath. Each in-breath bringing in new life. Each out-breath releasing that which you don't need. And you being the witness to the cycle of life, to the cycle of breath. And the card that John drew tonight is the Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian blessing of forgiveness, which is about release. I'm going to say the words to you, and you can just really listen and bring them into your being. So you can start by bringing somebody into your awareness who you feel you may want to release or forgive, make peace with. As you bring that person into your awareness, you say the words, I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then breathing out. Breathing in again. You might want to bring yourself into your awareness, as if you were standing in front of you. Look into your own eyes and say the words, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. This is a very, very powerful prayer. If any situations arise in your life, in your work, in your week, bring these words into your awareness and you will feel the release as you say them. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And now taking a deep breath in. And a releasing breath out. Connecting with that heart of yours. Breathing into it and softening and releasing. Letting any tension or anxiety just melt off you. Allowing yourself to release any resistance which you're feeling in your body. Physically, just let it go. So physically open your hands. Allow your hands to soften. Allow your shoulders to soften. Letting go of any resistance to something or someone that you might be holding on to. Letting go of any patterns, thought patterns, emotional patterns that might be bringing you into resistance, suffering. Just letting them go. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And taking a deep, beautiful breath in of life, allowing it to fill your being, and releasing. And when you're ready, you can gently start to come back and open your eyes.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's lovely. Thank you for joining us tonight. If any of you are battling a bit with the surrender process, with grief, with releasing someone who's passing away or has passed away, just drop us a line in the comments box and we can get back to you, and there's some information on my website which I can send you to help you through this time. So do let us know. Okay. And if any of you would like more information on that prayer, that Ho'oponopono, the blessing, also you just let us know in the comments box and we can send you a printed version of that with detailing of how you use it. Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Lots of love. We look forward to catching up with you next Sunday for Sunday Satsang with myself, John Homewood, and
Michelle. Thanks, everybody.
And those of you on our Journeys course, we look forward to meeting up with you on Thursday night.
Yes.
Okay. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Blessings.
Love.
Blessings.